guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the 5th generation of the Honda City and straight away we are going to be opening the engine bay. And there is good news for you guys. Firstly, there's bad news because I couldn't open it right away. But this is the VTEC motor. There's insulation right there. And the design of the car has actually become more sleeker and elegant. And although it might not look bigger than its predecessor, it is actually bigger in every dimension. It is so big, it's so big, that's what she said, that it is actually longer than the Civic which was sold in around the 2000s in India. Yes, that's right. That's how big this car has become in terms of size. The lights are all LEDs, look beautiful. LED fog lamps, you get a towing hook, of course, the bold chrome grille, which is very Honda-ish, and of course the design grows on you with time. What doesn't though are the tires, which are really small, 185 55 16s. They scramble for grip because the car really punches ahead with a lot of oomph. Coming to the rear, the lights look nice, but they're inspired from a BMW, rather the 3 Series. However, it says VTEC ZX. You know what? This is the variant of the City to buy because it is a VTEC and it is priced at rupees 15.41 lakhs on road Mumbai. Did you know that one major aspect that increases the on-road cost of your new car is the insurance you buy from the dealer? I would highly recommend you get a quote for your new car from Acco Insurance on acco.com and save up to 50% because they don't charge any commission. It's completely online, very easy to purchase within a few minutes and involves zero paperwork. You can get the 3 years third party plus 1 year own damage insurance from Acco for the brand new Honda City, which I'm reviewing today at a price as low as INR 15,804 plus GST. And back to the vlog. As you can see, the design of the car isn't something which is striking. However, it does grow on you with time. There's certain elements which look really very nice. Of course, chrome door handles. It's very elegant and understated, but it's very Japanese in that sense. Rear parking sensors, I like the lights on the car, they look really nice. However, they are not all LEDs unfortunately, because the indicator is a bulb and so is the reverse light too on this car. There's a reverse parking camera. The boot is actually big enough. Yeah, it is big enough. And the spare wheel is of course not, oh my god, it is actually an alloy. The spare wheel is an alloy on this car. In fact, the tire size is also the same, which is quite surprising. They've given a 185 55 16 in the spare wheel. Good job, Honda. But you know what? The problem is there's nothing to hold on to the boot. So it kind of feels flimsy in that sense. The body shell could have been stronger. What I really like is the space on offer. Okay, there's good amount of space on offer in the City. In fact, it is the class benchmark in that regard. The seat is very comfortable. Recline angle is good, but the headrests are not adjustable. They are fixed headrests, which is a irk at this price point. But you get rear AC vents here. You also get two 12 volt, 12 volt charging sockets here as well. Almost flat floor, actually it's flat. Big door pockets and good amount of space on offer. Under thigh support is also good. Headroom is good. Only thing is, for my height, this is not really very comfortable. Okay, you get a sun blind here which is manually adjustable, which is also a good touch. There's a light here on the top. So interior feels really very nice, quite airy. There's a hook handle and of course a center armrest with twin cup holders. Scooped out seat bag, magazine holders, you name it, this car has plenty. And of course the dashboard design looks really very nice as well. But we'll come to that in a bit because I honestly like the design of the 4th generation Honda City's dashboard. This one feels a little bit more, traditional. That one was of course more classy. I love the way Honda does request sensors, keyless entry. You just put your hand inside, no need to press this button, it unlocks the car. And you know what? It gets one touch up down power windows for all the doors. Hi Nurain, what's up?
Hi.
How do you like the car?
I like them.
Chal jhuti, chal jhuti. Anyways, the dashboard design looks really good because the quality levels are fab. Firstly, the seats are extremely comfortable. You can adjust it in a multitude of ways. It says side airbag because you get 6 airbags as well. Okay, this is the engine start stop button. Audio system is also pretty impressive. It gets 8 speakers. First and foremost, let me tell you, this is the only eyesore in what is otherwise a beautiful dashboard because this kind of is aftermarket. It's not the slickest around. Now, the dashboard design is nice. You get this wood treatment. You obviously get beige, leather, nice stitching. But shiny hard plastics are present, which is kind of an irk. Auto dimming inside rear view mirror. Lights are nice. Press a button and you can activate them. It obviously gets a sunroof, which you're going to open right now. Although at this price point, you would expect a panoramic roof. Now that's just me being hungry and greedy about having more features in the car. That's about it. That's all it opens. So The buttons on the steering wheel are extremely of high quality, rather are of extreme high quality. These are the buttons for the cruise control. These are for obviously the audio system. This is to pick up a call, decline a call, and for voice commands as well. It gets connected car tech. It also gets some integration with Alexa. Okay, they have removed the touch panel and it gets physical controls. Again, the quality is fantastic. Air conditioning works supremely well on this car. A lot of storage space. There's storage here, there's storage here, twin cup holders, and there is a power outlet along with 2 USB slots too. So plenty of charging options. In fact, there's space to keep stuff here as well. And below the front center armrest, there's storage space too. The glove box is actually decent size. Yeah, it's not a cool glove box. Now let's get inside this. Firstly, it gets Android Auto connectivity. It gets Apple CarPlay. It gets a decent reverse camera as well. This is the reverse parking camera. By the way, let's turn off the lights. You can see it now. Okay, it's got 3 views here, which just makes it easier to park the car. And the guidelines are shockingly not adaptive at this price point. The steering wheel is adjustable both for reach as well as rake. Meanwhile, another good party trick of this car is when you turn it on. Okay, every time you turn the car on, okay, firstly showing the Honda logo. Now it might look like a full digital or a full analog cluster. It is actually a part digital, part analog cluster. We're going to turn on the car. As soon as you turn on the car, okay, because I didn't lock the car, it does a swipe up. However, if you lock the car, it also shows you some display welcoming you. That's nice. Now this area is actually digital. This is the only analog part of this cluster, which happens to be the speedometer, and there is a multi-information display in the center. How do you browse through this? This is the button. Press the home button and you get a lot of information, speed and time. G meter is honestly the one which I like the most. Up to 0.5 Gs it tells you. You can get into settings, you can get into a lot of things and customize it as well, but just keep it a tachometer because this engine redlines at 7,000 RPM. Alright, these are the controls for the wipers. Let's use the wipers right away. Decent amount of spray on off for wipers, work really well. And these are the controls for the headlights. It gets automatic headlights. Let's do one thing. Let's play an audio right away. Okay, the only problem is that there are no physical controls. So, in order to reduce the volume, it can be a little bit pain in your ear. You can use these buttons, but it's not as fast. Now, you obviously get a mirror here, but there's no light. Same is the case here as well. There's a mirror, there's no light. There's a handle on the driver's side, but there are no height adjustable seat belts at the front. Obviously, it's not there at the rear either. So, audio quality is actually good. This is the traction control button. This is the headlight leveler. Everything inside this car feels really nice and premium. Honda's done a great job, although build quality could have been better, something which could at least compete with the Volkswagen Vento. But since I've done a dedicated video on the new Honda City, I'm just going to keep it till here. You can click here to see the dedicated walk around of this car. Let's start driving right away. And yes, this is the manual, but I'm going to treat you to a CVT right now. Alright, we're all set to go, which means coming into sport mode directly, turning on the lane watch camera, turning off the air conditioning as well. Air conditioning off completely. Yeah, some air still coming from here. I don't know what to do for that. Yeah, now it's off. Traction control off as well. And here we are going to turn on the G-force monitor, G-meter actually. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, revs till only 2000 RPM. Well, that is 11.6 seconds to reach from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, because this is actually almost 1.65 seconds slower than the manual to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Obviously, the manual is so much better. But you know what? Why is it slower? Because this CVT does not make the engine rev all the way till 7,000 RPM, which is the real feeling of driving a Honda City. Instead, it redlines at 6,500 RPM. Now, this is an all-new 1.5 liter petrol engine, which by the way comes from the Earth Dreams family actually. And that's not all. It is actually a DOHC unit, twin cam setup. It has less friction, it's lighter in terms of weight, more efficient and whatnot. And that's the reason why that Honda magic is still there, although not in the CVT, because the VTEC can't be felt at all. It just revs. But you know what? I'll tell you how much it revs. Just check the tachometer right now, okay? I can keep revving the motor. I know it's eager, it's peppy, it's always on the boil, and it just keeps revving and revving and revving and revving. It just keeps revving insanely. So this one produces 121 PS of power, which is an uptake of 2 PS from the older Honda City, the 4th generation model, and 145 Newton meters of torque, which gives it enough oomph to actually go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour faster than other CVT equipped cars, although the CVT box does bog it down to a great extent. Now this is a 7-step CVT box. Yeah, a 7-step CVT. Got paddle shifters as well. So yeah, I can manually take control of things, but you know what? Once I leave it now, it actually tends to skip a few steps on its own, which is kind of disappointing. Braking performance is really very good. Show-footed stopping power, although I think the pedal bite could have been slightly better, and soft suspension, so nosedive is present as well. Now we're driving in sport mode. Again, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, 2000 RPM, traction control off. No wheel spin. And you know, the manual does wheel spin like crazy. The CVT just does not. But the CVT brings in a lot of convenience. Easy to drive. The steering is light at lower speeds. It does weigh up at high speeds. So it's a very easy car to drive. And you know what? The CVT is more efficient than the manual. Yeah, that's surprising. It's minutely more efficient. In fact, this should return somewhere between 10 to 12 kilometers per liter in the city. Out on the highway, you can stretch it between 15 to 17 kilometers per liter. So, you know, real world mileage could be somewhere between 11 to 13 kilometers per liter, which is quite impressive as such. The motor becomes very vocal in the top end of the rev range. You can hear a lot of the engine once it crosses 4000 RPM, and that's actually a nice thing, because you know what, overall refinement is splendid in this car. It feels so refined, it feels so smooth, it feels so awesome. Lower end of the rev range, and feels peppy as well. But you know what, there's a proper step up in power around 2000 RPM. Notice this again, okay? Notice now, unlike a traditional CVT, it doesn't hold on to a particular RPM. It actually bounces here and there, and whenever it shifts a step, you can see the change in the tachometer as well. In fact, right now when I've lifted off the throttle, you see it's actually showing white. No, it's always going to show white because we are in sport mode. Otherwise, when you actually let it take its own sweet get-go, there it's green. Above the digital speedometer, you can see it's showing a green color. Get into the gas, it turns white. It's just telling you you're driving eco or you're not driving eco. Eco is obviously green right now. Lift off pay, obviously it turns green. Around the corners, body roll is well contained, but the soft suspension means that, yeah, you can feel a lot of roll as well. But still, turn-ins are very fast. The steering does weigh up at higher speeds, but could have weighed slightly better. So in terms of overall feel-good factor, in terms of feel feedback, and overall confidence to push this car around corners, not as good as the previous generation Honda City. So yes, it's gone softer. The suspension is really soft, which gives it a splendid ride quality. Ride quality is absolutely smacking awesome. In fact, this road, I'm not even going to slow down. I'm just going to take it at my own pace. Absolutely stellar ride quality from this car, especially at lower speeds. But because of the soft suspension now, you can feel a lot more at high speeds. We're going to get into sport mode, we're going to stop, we're going to launch it again. But before that, let me tell you that they have achieved a fantastic ride quality. In fact, dare I say, this is the best ride quality in the segment at lower speeds. At higher speeds, it doesn't feel as composed, because you know what, the rear moves around a bit somehow and becomes very noisy as well. A lot of road noise comes in at higher speeds from the rear specifically, and because of the soft suspension, obviously because of the soft suspension, you know what, vertical movement is there, and off we go. Why have they put traction control? Remove this traction control, throw it out in the dump, because it's of no use here. It doesn't spin its wheels. You know the manual spins its wheels like absolute mad. Okay, the tires a little bit on the smaller side, yet the CVT just does not spin its wheels. That is the level of lethargicness lower down. It doesn't let you launch so aggressively. But that aside, around 2000 RPM, it gives you a slight kick, and then at 4000 RPM, it really wakes up and pushes you hard into the top end of the rev range, because the top end is the sweetest spot of a Honda VTEC motor. And in spite of the CVT, it's still fantastic. Now obviously a CVT has a rubber band effect, this has it too, but it's much better than the older CVT box. So yes, there's progress in that regard. That said, fuel tank capacity is really chintu mintu at 40 liters. 40 liter fuel tank capacity in a car of this size, that's baffling. In fact, hatchbacks should have 40 liters. A City having 40 liters, I don't understand the logic. Maybe Honda's like, okay, we'll save weight there, but you know what, it weighs 1153 kgs. That's 1153 kgs. Ironically, both the manual as well as the automatic weigh the same. How does that even happen? Shouldn't the CVT box weigh more? But no, that's the spec sheet, that's what it says. So it doesn't really matter the weight here. It's heavier than before, and because of that, it is actually the same in terms of performance as the older Honda City, although this is a newer engine, slightly more performance in terms of 2 bhp uptake. But this has 1cc more displacement as well, because they've increased, I think the bore has been increased, a lot of changes here and there, reduction of friction and whatnot to make it more refined. It complies with BS6 emission norms. I believe the old City also complied with BS6 emission norm near its end of its life cycle. So yeah, fantastic car, but doesn't really have that engaging feel, especially not the CVT. The CVT just doesn't feel as engaging to drive as I would have expected it to be. But then that's nothing new, because CVT boxes really ruin good cars. Just see the Honda Civic as well, the petrol one, which comes with the CVT box. Not really impressive. I don't like it much, but I love the diesel because it's a manual. I know you guys are like, do another review on the manual city. I shall do it, and I shall spin the wheels like absolute mad, because stopping and revving the motor and launching like right now makes no sense. It doesn't spin its wheels, it just makes noise. Somehow I feel there's a disalignment between the speedometer, the sound, and what is exactly happening because of the CVT box. But the CVT box is super convenient. Now drive it in the city, don't drive it pedal to the metal. You will actually like this car a lot because it's so smooth, so refined, easy to drive, but it just doesn't feel that engaging somehow. Now we have 9 variants of the city on offer. The base variant actually starts at 12.82 lakhs. Again, all the prices are on road Mumbai, of course. That 12.82 lakhs will get you the base variant of the new generation of the Honda City. The top end variant costs 17.44 lakhs, which is obviously for the diesel manual, and this particular one which you're driving right now costs rupees 16.91 lakhs, which is 1.5 lakhs more than the manual. So you pay a premium of 1.5 lakhs for slightly more fuel efficient engine, and of course more convenience, but again robbing that driving feel which the manual has to offer. So as I see it, the new City has definitely become much better than before. Now this is a road test. I'm trying to figure out a lot more things about the car after driving it for longer. Last time I drove 3 of the variants in a single day. That was really hodgepodge. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we can't get our own sweet time with the car when it's getting launched. But now that I have the car, let me tell you that the new City definitely feels the benchmark, albeit a pricier one, because the cost is definitely on the higher side. It does cost quite a lot, cost more than its rivals, and doesn't have the same level of composure or driving feel as its European counterparts, especially the Vento and the Rapid. And then the Vento and Rapid are older than the jeans which I'm wearing, which means that they are really very old, and these jeans are from like 2001. That said, jokes aside, I love the new City. I think it's fantastic. I would always recommend to get a diesel manual of any car on earth, because I'm so chindi and I just want to save fuel. I want to save fuel costs as well, with fuel touching 90 rupees per litre. That's a lot of money per litre for fuel. But still, I would recommend the petrol manual of the Honda City. It is so fantastic. That VTEC engine with a manual gearbox, driving the nuts of the motor, holding it to 7,100 RPM redline is something unbelievably good. Everything feels so good inside this car. But the real fun of driving a City is a manual. That's the reason first we're going to do is turn off the air conditioning, turn off traction control as well, get out of this G meter, because all you want to see is the tachometer for sure. And this is a very customizable multi-information display. It even shows you reverse parking sensors here, and you can customize so many things. It's insane. I never knew it's going to be so detailed. Lane watch camera on, into first gear, revving the motor, rev still almost 5,000 RPM. Yes. So basically you can see it that this manual is so much better than the CVT. You pay lesser money, you have more fun. I don't see a better deal than this. Yes, the City VTEC still has the charm, because this 1.5 litre motor is absolutely fantastic in the way it pulls. Okay, it spins its wheels like absolute madness. Trust me on this, the CVT makes this engine feel underwhelming. The manual makes this engine feel overwhelming. The only thing is that the tires are inadequate, the brakes are inadequate, the suspension is inadequate, because the engine is so freaking good. It makes everything else feel out of place in this car. And this is the car you drive in first and second, and that's about it. I kid you not. That's the only 2 gears you need to drive the City VTEC, because the gearing is so tall, it's obnoxious. Firstly, the car is super duper refined. It's so smooth, it's so refined, you can barely hear anything at idle. Even at low speed, you can't hear anything. But you whack open the throttle, and it goes absolutely mad. It goes berserk. The way it pulls, the engine has so much grunt, The best thing is there's the silence before the storm. So it doesn't really have that punch lower down. Flattish mid-range. But once it wakes up at 4,000 RPM, that's the start of an orgasm, because the way it redlines all the way to 7,100 RPM is nothing short of madness. It just feels insane near the red line, and the red line gives you goosebumps. It's that 7,000 RPM feeling. It is so amazing. You know what is even better? It doesn't feel uncomfortable near the red line. It doesn't feel thrashy at all. Only thing is, it sounds loud, sporty, and what are we doing in fourth gear here? You always downshift into second because second is the gear this car needs to be driven in. Second is the only gear you need to drive this car because it does everything so well. Here you go. Now, as soon as I leave the clutch, here we are around 4000 RPM. Clutch is very light. The gearbox is super slick shifting. And here we are doing 60 kilometers per hour at 4000 RPM in second gear. And look at this. Oh my God. What an engine. Absolutely phenomenal the way it pulls. Okay, it does 100 in second gear itself. So basically it takes around 10 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is similar to the old City, both in terms of outright acceleration as well as in-gear acceleration. So a lot of things are actually very similar in compared to the older City, although this is new in almost every dimension. The engine is also new. Okay, we've already spoken about the engine and the technical aspects in the CVT video which I was doing a little earlier, but this is so phenomenal. You know what? Listen to this. Tell me a car which redlines like this. Tell me a car which makes so much noise. You know what? Honda has actually not made the tires smaller for fuel efficiency. They have made it for more drama because, you know what? It spins its wheels like crazy. Traction control is rubbish actually. You don't need it. That's the reason I turn it off. I mean, it's helpful so that you don't spin the wheels and, you know, ruin the tires very fast. But I hate traction control because I want to make noise. I want the wheel spin. And this car absolutely loves doing it. Oh my goodness, 108 kilometers per hour it does in second gear itself. The gearing is so tall, it's so tall, it's so tall. I can't even tell you how tall it is, but I will give you a small demo of how tall this gearing is on this car. It's absolutely crazy how Honda goes for such tall gearing. And you know what? While driving the manual, I've been getting better fuel efficiency than what I was getting in the CVT. The CVT I was averaging 7 to 8 kilometers per liter full throttle. This one I'm averaging 13 kilometers per liter full throttle. So yeah, the manual is actually better in every regard. It's faster, it's cheaper, it's more efficient. Technically, it's not more fuel efficient according to whatever official data goes. But when you drive it flat out, the manual is more rewarding and more efficient as well. You save 1.5 lakh rupees over the CVT. I don't see a better win-win situation. This is easily the best variant of the Honda City to buy right now. It is just so much better than any other variant of the City. Whether it's a diesel, I don't care about the better mileage of the diesel. And way better than the CVT as well. The CVT does not give you the VTEC magic. The VTEC magic is present in the manual because of this fantastic launch control, which happens to be your own self, your own skill, and your own madness. But you know what? Because this engine is so fantastic, the brakes don't feel good enough. The suspension doesn't feel good enough, you know. Yeah, it feels bouncy. It needs to be on the stiffer side. The brakes need to be sharper with better initial response as well. The tires need to be wider. So many things need to change just because of this engine, which isn't the case with the CVT, because the CVT masks the madness of the VTEC mill. First gear, revving the motor, 5000 RPM almost. Listen to this, okay? 3, 2, 1. Oh, we up the launch.
What happened?
I actually messed it up, but we're going to do it again. Here we go.
Why? Now you know mine was better yesterday.
Absolutely not. You know what's the funny thing? It does around 60 kilometers per hour in first gear. In second, it does around 108. In third gear, it does 162 kilometers per hour. Why do you need 4th, 5th and 6th? Absolutely unnecessary, guys. We need a 3-speed gearbox in the Honda City because those are the only 3 gears you're going to be driving in. Top speed, almost 200 kilometers per hour, but unfortunately, it doesn't feel really stable at higher speeds. It kind of loses its line when you're trying to corner really hard because of the lightweight, especially at the rear. So yes, this car needs a lot of work to make it go faster and be more sure-footed. However, the basic formula is really nice because the steering is fantastic. Turn-ins are really very quick. There is body roll because of soft suspension. The suspension needs to be stiffened. The tires need to become wider. Brakes need to be uprated. But this engine is so good. It makes everything else forgivable because it just punches ahead with so much enthusiasm. It's in an entirely different league altogether. No turbos needed. This naturally aspirated beast is more than enough to take it to the fight to all the turbocharged petrol cars in the segment. First gear, 54 kilometers per hour, and then in second it does 108. I can't help myself but keep repeating this, that the gearing is obnoxiously tall, and that's the fun factor. This is such a fantastic car, so much fun, really very enjoyable a beast. I love it. I absolutely love the Honda City. But is it just me who loves this VTEC magic? Well, let's find out.
I love it. Look at this, look at this. The engine is amazing. I just love it. This is the first car in which I've touched the 7,000 RPM and you know, it's like amazing, superb. Okay, not the Skoda superb, but then yeah, I just love this car. It's amazing. I love it. 10 on 10. I am a Skoda fan. No, see, I am a Skoda fan because I have a Skoda, but then I love Honda as well. So it's like Honda, Civic and City is my favorite. Any day, any day. See, Rapid ka leg space is just screwed up. Matlab, kuch hai hi nahi. Okay, I'll tell you what happened. There was an instance, I was driving a Honda City, the older version, mere dost ka. And matlab, I just got in the car and I'm trying to, you know, switch it on. And I'm like, चालू क्यों नहीं हो रही गाड़ी? फिर मेरा दोस्त मुझे बोलता है कि अरे गाड़ी ऑलरेडी चालू है. मतलब बिल्कुल it was like pitch, you know, silent. मतलब बिल्कुल silent, आवाज़ ही नहीं आ रही थी. इसकी आवाज़ ही नहीं आती है. पता ही नहीं चलता कि गाड़ी चालू भी है या नहीं है.
But once VTEC kicks in, you...
Yes. Like this.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that. I'm driving the car and you're taking the maze. Comparatively hard. Don't you think so?
That's what she said.
No, I hate... I mean, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not sure.
That's not all fine. Yesterday you ruined the clutch.
I did not, okay? I was just launching. And nothing happened to the clutch because we're driving the same car today.